Well, hey everybody, it's Sandy and welcome back to my channel dedicated to helping you advocate for your own health one topic at a time. So it's my last morning to show you the Mediterranean behind me in the morning. It's day 5 check-in, which is really day 6 for me since symptom onset. Again, symptom onset is day 0. So today's really day 6 for me. I think we're all better. For me, when I get any kind of a cold, or even if I have some kind of, I don't tend to have a lot of allergies, but every now and then I find myself reacting to something I never get to the bottom of, but I'll do a little bit of this thing for a little while. Like sometimes it'll go on for quite some time. And actually when I get a normal cold, I'm usually coughing for weeks, and sometimes I get post-infectious bronchitis where people are like afraid of me, even though I'm way past the infectious period, and sometimes occasionally I even take a steroid dose pack at the end of a cold. So if every cold was like the acute phase of my COVID infection, it would be just great. So I'm still just clearing my throat a little bit. People have told me that I sound a little nasal, but get a close-up there, you can tell I'm not stuffed up or anything anymore. I have completed 3 full days of Paxlovid, so today I've taken 1 dose of day 4. Am I glad I've done this? Yes, I get a lot of varying comments on the Facebook group, and I'm really glad I've done this. One person put it very eloquently, which is that with all the population, widespread immunity, and at this point, it just makes less and less sense. It's less logical to organize your life around avoiding COVID. I feel like I've heard people say this, and it seems ironic, but I feel ironically freed up. Not that I, want to go look to get this thing a million times. I know that, you can get this more than once, but I'm going to do a different video on this later. But I've just come to the conclusion that probably a lot of people have had this many, many times, and they don't even know, because typically, unless you have, I'm wondering actually hopefully I didn't have so mild a case that I didn't develop a good immune response, because you do hear of cases like really, really mild cases of chickenpox, and then people get it twice. You're not supposed to. So, with COVID, it's not the kind of thing where you have lifetime immunity, but you should have a long-time immunity, especially hybrid. That's the gold standard, and now I should have hybrid immunity. I'm going to try to get a nucleocapsid antibody test when I get back to the States and see what it looks like. But I think when I think about like all the young people or how my kids are living their lives and stuff, and I think about like how quickly I got this just getting out for the first time, and like in 1 week, boom, done. Even 6 weeks after a booster. The math to me just doesn't add up. People aren't testing because they don't know they're sick, and people just must be getting this all the time. I hear things like, oh, the infection rate is really low. Well, somebody's got it because it was ready for me. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that all in another video. But so going forward, what am I going to be doing here? I'm going to be following the CDC recommendation, even though Monday they're going to change that recommendation in Israel. But I'm going to follow the CDC recommendation, which is that you can be out of isolation for 5 days. Honestly, if I had to be anywhere isolated, this is the best place because you can like sit out by the sea. I've been sitting out and looking at the Mediterranean, which has been very therapeutic. And fortunately, I didn't feel really sick, so I wasn't like laying around in bed or anything like that. So that's great. But I will continue to wear a mask. I'm going to wear a mask on the plane, obviously. I have very limited test supply here, so I guess I'll probably test when I get home. I don't know. It doesn't change the result. And there's no recommendations on retesting as long as your symptoms are waning. Mine are pretty much non-existent at this point, and as long as you have not had a fever within 48 hours, and that would mean without the help of fever-reducing medications. I've not taken a single fever-reducing medication the whole time, and I don't think I had a fever. The first night of symptom onset, I had some chills, but I don't think I ever had a fever. So, yeah, I fit all those bills, and so does my husband, so there's no real recommendation on testing. So we'll see. I guess if I started to move in the wrong direction and there's a risk of Paxlovid rebound, which, by the way, you get rebound even without Paxlovid, yeah, I would test, of course, if I started to feel ill again. But I would do that anyway. Like if I started to feel ill in a year, I would test. But so that's what we're doing. So in another day, I won't do tomorrow morning's update because we're leaving very, very early tomorrow morning. So I think the next time that I will update will be after I get back to the States. So yeah, kind of a bummer that, a 2-week trip and half of it was spent like this, but in a really weird way. I think it was just great if I had to have this, to have it outside of the environment with which I've associated with nothing but COVID and COVID mitigation for the last few years. I think it was a great break to get away from that, and I think it's very empowering to come back on sort of the other side of this. I know some people disagree with me, and you're still organizing your life around completely mitigating, and people have different reasons for doing so. I don't knock anybody for doing it. It's going to see if I get better light this way. I don't knock anybody for doing it. I totally understand, but that's just not where I'm at this point anymore. So, yes, I'm still hoping I don't get long COVID. I will keep documenting my experience and let you guys know. Oh, I wanted to say the only symptom that was really bothersome to me, and it wasn't even that bad, was that I had a lot of GI upset with this thing, but that's totally gone. It was pretty much gone yesterday, but I thought maybe that was a fluke, and I wanted to wait like one more day, but 2 days in a row seems good. So that's gone as well. So yeah, I'm really on my way, and I'm very grateful. So, all right, I'm going to sign off, and then, like I said, tomorrow morning we're going to be leaving. It's morning here now. It's Sunday morning, yeah. So I'll probably catch up with you guys in a couple of days after I'm back in the States. All right, until next time, be well. Bye-bye.